Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we're taking a look at the Diamond Select Minimates Alien box set. And within this box set, we have 3 members of the Nostromo crew and 1 uninvited guest. We have Ripley, Kane, Parker, and the big chap alien himself. And I guess we can't forget Jones the cat as well. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, I love Minimates just for the fact that while they are simplistic stylized figures, they're able to pack in so many cool accessories and interchangeable parts into their packages, and this one is no exception. So let's not waste any time and let's jump right in. Every one of the 4 figures in this set comes with their own little stand. It's a standard Minimate stand, round piece of clear plastic with 1 single peg. Now, I'm not sure if it's the figures or the stands, but I'm having trouble getting the peg into their feet. It's a very tight fit on all of them. I'm not really sure why, but it is nice that they have these. I'm glad these are standard now. One unexpected accessory is Jones the cat here. I always feel with Minimates, they kind of leave one thing out of the package where you can't actually see it until you buy the figure and open it up, and I think Jones was that for this set. And it's a very nicely sculpted cat for as tiny as it is. There's the stripes on his back, little paws there, and kind of derpy looking face, but it works. Next, we have the little ray gun accessories. We got this with the NECA version of Kane, and we get 2 of these with this set. Very cool looking. Very well sculpted, though not a lot of paint details, just plain old black, but not a big deal. It fits into their C-clip hands just fine. We also get 2 flamethrower units, a silvery gray plastic with the little fuel tank here on the bottom in red. Once again, very nicely detailed for being as tiny as it is. And they gave us this flame accessory, which has a hole on the end, and that will peg right onto the gun and give you a true flamethrower effect, which is really cool. Now, the plastic on the gun is pretty soft, so when you have it on there, it can kind of sag a little bit. It's not a perfect fit, but still a really neat idea to include this with the set. First up, we're going to take a look at Parker. And he's really well done. We've got his face painted on here, standard Minimate form where it's just painted on the cylinder. It's got his stubble and all the details of his face. His hair with his ears is a separate piece with a blue bandana going around. You even see the tie in the back. He has no real detail on his back except for some numbers that are identifiers of the figure. But on the front, we do see the front of his kind of suit that he wore around the Nostromo. It's opened up to reveal his undershirt. You see the pockets and on the rank and everything on there. We even have the little nameplate on there. His belt, his pants, short sleeve shirt with the little insignia on his one shoulder, and then just some plain white shoes. For articulation, standard for a Minimate, he has a ball joint at the base of the head, ball joint at the shoulders, and get a good range of motion there. Hinge at the elbow, rotation at the wrist, swivel at the waist, ball joint at the hips, hinge at the knee, and swivel at the foot. Next up, we have Kane, and Kane comes with a lot of different individual accessories to him, but we'll get into those in a minute. We have his face kind of just painted on there, same as always. Hair, unique hair with ears sculpted on there. His uniform, very similar to what Parker has, but he has a different shirt going on. It's less open. It looks like he has a pocket protector going on. There's a little slightly different details there. Similar belt, and the pants are virtually identical. He has some black shoes, however. Same short sleeves with the insignia, and he actually has a little bracelet going on here, or a watch, and that is a separate piece, so you could actually remove this and put it on a different figure if you wanted to. Now with Kane, you can pop his head off, and then we have this face hugger accessory, which is pretty well detailed for being so small. We got all the little fingers on there, the coil for the tail wrapping around it, even some detail on the inside, which I wouldn't have expected. Then we could take this, and you kind of have to loop the tail around the bottom of the head and loop the fingers up around the face. It's kind of an awkward fit. Then you could pop it back on, and now we have Kane with his face hugger attached, looking really cool. You kind of lose your neck mobility here with it on there, and you do have to kind of pry the face hugger a bit, but it is rubbery enough that you can. But it looks really neat. It's a great accessory to include. And then you can remove that. And we can remove Kane's face from his hair. And we can install his new face screaming in pain. And then we have another accessory, which kind of comes on like a tie, as a loop that goes around the ball peg at the base of his neck. And then we have the blood splatter effect with the chest burster. We add that screaming head to it. And we have the complete look of Chestburster Kane, which is really, really cool. And I love the fact that because you could put this on pretty much any Minimate, we could have Chestbursters coming out of Captain America or Walking Dead characters. You can mix and match this however you want and create some crazy scenes out of it. Next up, we have Ripley in her jumpsuit. Once again, very well done. Face painted on there. I don't feel like there's anything on here to really look like Sigourney Weaver, but there's not a lot to work with on a Minimate. Her hair, I don't feel works as well. She did have longer hair than this in the movie, if I remember correctly. Now it's just kind of bunched up over her face, kind of hiding her eyes. We do have her ears in there. We have her jumpsuit, her name tag. You can see the shape of her body underneath the blockiness of the Minimate. Sleeves, once more, having logos on them. Kind of rolled up effect going around here with her elbows. She has a watch on her one arm. Then more detail going down the front, down to her white shoes. And even a little detail here on the back. And last but not least, we have the Xenomorph Big Chap, and this is really impressive. I always love it when Minimates goes above and beyond and creates these crazy versions of their figures. And this is no exception. We can see there is a basic Minimate body kind of here. We can see the blocky torso, the standard legs, standard arms, but all this other stuff is added on here. We have a very large dome-shaped head that actually appears to have a translucent dome with the skull underneath, which is really cool. Got its silvery teeth and jaws sticking out. Unfortunately, this is not retractable or removable. I thought it might peg in, but it doesn't. So he's always going to be doing the tongue out here. A lot of great detail sculpted in here, especially for what this is. Then we have this extra body piece coming up and over, giving it the ribs and the shoulder blades and all the tubes and spikes on the back. And that also comes down into the tail. The tail coming off the back piece there, looping around with a nice little spike at the end, which is rounded off because it's a Minimate. The arms, we have a nice paint job done on the body, giving it that biomechanical look, and then it comes to these extra special large arms that replicate the alien's weird fingers and the little blade coming down the side of the arm. Though I do believe it is missing a finger. More of the same detail on the legs, coming up to these big, kind of back-bent, huge feet, which are very cool looking. I really like how they did the feet on this guy. For articulation, all the other figures have been the same. This one's a little different. And I guess the really big difference is we do have a couple joints in the tail where we could swivel right where it connects to the body, and then a little lower down we also have a swivel. So overall, once again, I am in love with the Minimate set. It just always surprises me how much detail and fun factor they're able to put into little blocky, stylized figures that are barely a step up from being Lego characters. Well, not barely a step up. The alien is a complete transformation of that normal figure, but you know what I mean. But these guys are so fun. There's so many ways to pose them, so many ways to mess with them and have them on display, that I think anyone who's a fan of Alien needs to pick these up. These would be a great addition to your collection. Now, it looks like they are doing some Aliens figures as well. They did some kind of single-packed troop building thing with some of these smaller, lesser-known Marines, and I think they had Burke, and then they had a bunch of Xenomorphs. And I unfortunately did not pick that up because none of my local comic shops had it, and I forgot to actually order myself some. But any future Alien releases, I'm at least going to take a look at because this set is really cool and gets a very strong recommend from me. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, it's been our Outside the Box Reviews. And remember, on YouTube, no one can hear you scream.